All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who teach and rule well. And peace, love, and salutations to the Akim that's out there laboring, that's of the hope for elect, that's doing this work in truth and sincerity. And I pretty much want to chime in on this this podcast by the individual by the name of Jesse Lee Peterson. And I firmly believe that he's a chocolate-colored Edomite, but he has his podcast called the JLP Show. And on this show, this particular day, he had the interview with the return of the land leader. Okay, this individual or a group of individuals are people who pretty much have about 150 to 60 acres of land in the Ozarks within northern Arkansas, and they pretty much are developing a all white community. All right, and he's gonna go into the reasons why this is being established. Jake pretty much needs to not pretty much get all up in arms about this situation here, because the Lord pretty much has separated the nations from the beginning, but in these times now, these trying times now where, people are pretty much cleaving to their own people, and, he gets into it of the reason why he's doing it, because he sees the diversity of Babylon, and pretty much he's trying to preserve his Edomite culture, so to speak. That's what it all boils down to at the end of the day. I'm going to play a little bit of this clip. I'm going to post some scriptures. But, another thing is, that pretty much that black fatigue is real, man. And, when you look at the situation with these Edomites out here, man, when you want to talk about them not wanting to be around you and pretty much, what you want to call people look at it as racism. When you look at racism with Edomites, man, it's really a poor white trash mentality at the end of the day, because this individual here and people like him have to build their own community, because they pretty much have to get away from Jake, have to get away from the other nations. And when you pretty much are a regular Joe Blow six-pack, you have to pretty much deal with the dynamics of Babylon, the diversity, when you pretty much are a working class person, because you have to deal with them, on in your comings and goings, they deal with Edomites, deal with you on the work site, and pretty much, because of their financial situation, they pretty much cannot move away from Jake. These people probably live in diversified neighborhoods, and it's not really by choice, though, it's by circumstance, you see, because when you look at the Edomites that have money, all right, racism is not anything in their thoughts. They may be racist, though, but the racism is pretty much more subtle. But when you have people that have bread, have money, they live in communities where Jake is automatically excluded just because of the tax bracket, man. So when you're dealing with the certain levels of these Edomites here in Babylon, man, and pretty much, man, these guys right here are pretty much two-time losers at the end of the day, but it shows you the feeble mindset of these people, though. But they're already doing something that the Lord had prescribed for us from the beginning. Our downfall here in Babylon pretty much was integration, so to speak, because we thrived during the Jim Crow era, you see. Because why? Because we had to be self-sufficient. We had to provide for ourselves, man. And like I said, the Lord said that, man, we're not gonna be able to prosper in this place. So when we did get successful at these these areas where, you got Black Wall Street, you got pretty much several examples of how Jake was thriving, okay, during the Jim Crow era, and pretty much when they separated themselves and formed their own communities in towns, something happened to where, the Edomites would come in and destroy it, man. Okay? You see? So Jake is always going to take an L here in Babylon, man. But pretty much, I just wanted to set it up. This individual is going to, talk to this guy, and we're going to get more into it. So without any further ado, I'm going to play this clip.
I have a guest for you for this first half hour here. And some of you have heard of it. We talked about his new town last week, I believe. I have with me Eric Orwell. He is the founder and leader of Return to the Land, better known as RTTL, a self-declared white-only community located in a rural area near Black Rock, Arkansas. The settlement is situated on 160 acres in the Ozarks. And before I bring Eric on, we discussed Eric's all-white town last week. And here's that soundbite about the town from Sky News for those who might not be aware of it.
What we've done here is establish a place where we have...
Let me stop it. Look at here, man. So now you think Jake is going to be upset for not dwelling amongst these Edomites in a house looking like this, man? Okay? You see? Jake pretty much, man, has received benefits here in Babylon, man. You got Jake that's in that certain tax brackets, man, where they have living amongst Esau in a lot of these elaborate neighborhoods, man, and even living in upper, middle class so-called Negro neighborhoods, man. But to be envious of a homestead looking like this, you need to be ashamed of yourself, man. You see? Okay? But you're gonna see what these people are dealing with here, though. They're trying to pretty much separate themselves, man. But we're in that time, man, where people are going to pretty much cleave to their own people, man. Okay? But let's continue.
Control over who our neighbors are, and that is just for the sake of preserving, our culture.
And that culture, effectively, we're saying this is a white culture, a whites-only place.
White American culture.
Over the last year and a half, high up in the Ozark Hills in the state of Arkansas, dozens of people have been working hard, leveling the land, building houses. They call it an intentional community based around shared ancestry, a long-winded way of saying something really quite simple. Its founder says he is building a fortress for the white race.
It's a racial association.
This is the place that one group has chosen to put that into radical, real-world action.
You want a white nation? Build a white town. It can be done, and we're doing it.
160 acres taking shape, forests cleared, roads laid, cabins built. Around 40 people live here.
Amazing, nice. Eric, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Jesse.
I appreciate
Thanks for inviting me. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm probably going to fast forward a little bit, though, man, but I want to get some scriptures, though, man. But at the end of the day, you see where they're at here, in society, man, a crumbling society. And then now here, pretty much in the ninth inning, they decide to want to intentionally separate themselves from from you Jakes, okay? And this is the only way they're going to do it. But, at the end of the day, people don't need to be having to be part of no type of community. Right now, you got Jakes that's pretty much, Jake can go ahead and purchase pretty much. And I seen pretty much a video where Jake himself bought 30 acres of land and is pretty much living on it with a fifth wheel trailer, okay, and 30 acres by himself, man. Okay, so pretty much, man, if you not want to be around anybody, man, you could just go ahead on and pretty much purchase some land and not have nobody around you, man. You know, if you want feeling that type of way, you see, okay. So now this is some type of way to where, you know, you have all these people buying up this land and trying to build a town, you know, just to be dealing with themselves, man. And you already have these all white towns, man. You know, and it's already done, like I said, do you know, different tax levels, man. Okay, where you wouldn't find no Jakes living in there, man, because of the price of the homes, man. You see? Okay, so these people, you know, pretty much, man, this is, you know, something that's gonna come to naught at the end of the day, man. You know. But let's get a scripture real quick. Ecclesiastes chapter 13. Verse 15. Every beast loveth his like, and every man loveth his neighbor. All flesh consorteth according to kind, and a man will cleave to his like. You know, and that's the truth. Okay, that's scripture right there, man. You see, okay, you know, every man's gonna cleave to his kind, man. You know, and right now, man, you know, Esau pretty much feels that the walls closing in on him, man. Okay, the walls are closing in so much that the ceiling's gonna cave in on him, man. You know, okay. So, you know, this is where the people, you know, they turn into their own like, man. You know, but like I said, the Lord said, man, from, you know, be ye separate and come from among them, man. You know, really the elect at the end of the day. You know, okay. But this is what the Lord had prescribed from the beginning anyway, man. We were never supposed to pretty much integrate, man. Okay, the Lord already pretty much separated the nations, man, and everybody had their own assigned land in the earth, man. Okay, but this man has raped, robbed, and pillaged, you know, people and oppressed their heritage, and then now in the ninth inning, now he just wants to decide now that after he had conquered everything and put everything in disarray, that he wants to go ahead and pretty much, you know, separate themselves and build a town that was built on blood, man. Okay, you see, all right, this whole land is bloody at the end of the day, man. So what you think, according to the scriptures, is gonna how it's gonna end up for him, man? Okay, you know, there's pretty much a judgment to pay for that, man. You see, all right, but it says, what fellowship have the wolf with the lamb, or so the sinner with the godly? Okay, so what fellowship would you have with these people at the end of the day anyway, man? Okay, you know, it's time for you, Jakes, man, to really understand that, man. You know, hey, you people are there is a covert operation, dead set against you, Jakes, man. It always has been, man. But now it's pretty much, man, this man is coming from behind the curtains, man, and revealing himself, man. Okay, all right. You people are not pretty much their cup of tea, man, and they let you know about it, man. Okay, you see. All right, from there, all right, let's go to let's go to Zephaniah real quick. We'll grab that, right? Zephaniah chapter 2. Verse 1. Hold on. Let's see. This is what I want. Salakia. Make sure that's what I want to pull up real quick. Yeah, this is Zephaniah chapter 2, verse 2. Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together O nation not desired, man. Okay? Right? And the Lord's telling you to gather yourselves together. You're a nation that's not desired, man. You're not desired for anybody, man. Jake is in the worst case scenario ever in history, man. Okay? Dysfunctional. And your energy is pretty much exhausting from everybody, man. You know? You see? Everybody's pretty much exhausted, man, from Jake's energy, man. Okay? And it says, before the decree bring forth, before the day pass as a shaft, before the fierce anger of Yahweh come upon you, before the day of the Lord's anger come upon you. Okay? And you seek the Lord, man. Seek him early, pretty much, man. Okay? Why the evil days come not, man? But we're seeing that evil days, and we're seeing how it's going to pretty much unravel, man. Okay? But you're supposed to gather yourselves together, man, under the Lord, man, at the end of the day, man. Okay? And then pretty much, man, you can do that by coming into this truth. But it's only for really the elect at the end of the day, man. Okay? But this is how we're preparing ourselves, man, for the Lord, man. Okay? You see? All right? This place right here is no prosperity for you in this place, man. Okay? All right? You Jakes are pretty much under the curses, man, but you somehow, some way, don't see it that way. Okay? You pretty much want to debunk what was already pretty much prophesied and prescribed to you, man. Okay? But you just can't see it, man. You know? Okay? It says, seek ye Yahweh, all ye meek of the earth, which have wrought his judgment. Seek righteousness, seek meekness. It may be ye shall be hid in the day of the Lord's anger, man. So, pretty much, we foresee the evil, man, and we hide ourselves, man. Okay? We hide ourselves within the glory of the Lord. And what's the glory of the Lord, man? And pretty much is this truth, man. Okay? You see? But Jake is somehow, some way, Jake is, pretty much has their own opinion about this whole situation with this individual. Jake still wants to be all inclusive with this guy, included in everything that he does. And that's pretty much what destroyed us, man. Okay? We pretty much take on this man's customs, man, that are not ours. And it has destroyed us as a nation, man. Okay, we've been manipulated. We've been pretty much, we fell for every, snare. Okay, and the trickery that this man has manipulated you people into engineering your culture to be a dysfunctional, hot mess, man. That's what it is, man, and being exploited to the world, man. Okay. As this utter folly, man. Okay, the individual. I didn't want to play too much more of the video though, but he goes into that, man. He mentioned that black families are pretty much dysfunctional because of the fact of single parent homes are prevalent. You see, okay, but we know pretty much the history behind what caused that, man. Okay, and a lot of these women pretty much kicked the man out the house, man. Okay, they don't need a man. They were relying on Uncle Sam, man, for their want and need, man. Okay, that was their helping hand, so to speak. That was their helpmate, the government, man. Okay, giving them those benefits, man. You see, but now pretty much the well is drying up, man, and Jake's gonna find out the hard way, man. Okay, a lot of these government programs, man, are about to come to an end, man. Okay, you see, right? But you're supposed to gather yourselves, O nation, not desire, man, because nobody's desiring you people to be around you people, man. Okay, and you people are getting worse and worse, man. You dominate the folly on social media, man. Okay, most of the social media folly that's set forth to the world is starring you Jakes, man. Okay, you see, all right. Jake's pretty much crushing out, man, on a daily basis, man. All right. From there, let's go to Micah. Pull up Micah real quick. Micah 2, chapter 2, verse 10. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted, and it shall destroy you even with the sword of destruction, man. And that sword of destruction is going to be them ICBMs, man. Those are the weapons of the Lord's indignation, man, that are coming upon this place, man. Okay? You know, the pretty much the Lord is calling in the chips on this place, man. Okay? The numbers being called. You see? Okay? This place is heavily polluted, man. Okay? It has polluted the mindset of the people, of our people. Okay? All right? This place is soaked with the blood, okay, of our ancestors. Okay? You see? All right? And a recompense is being ordered, man, from the Lord, man. Okay? You know, and you people still want to try to join onto this, man. Okay? You see? Right? It says, if a man walking in the spirit of falsehood do lie, in the spirit and falsehood do lie, saying, I will prophesy unto thee of wine and of strong drink, he shall even be the prophet to this people, man. You know, and it's pretty much that prosperity doctrine that you've been spoon fed, man, from childhood, man. Okay, you know, just be a good slave and pretty much, you know, stay in line and listen to your master. Okay, and pretty much, you know, things are gonna happen for you. You know, you see, you know, okay. But you know, everything here is people striving to engage in mirth, man. You know, it says, right? I will surely assemble, O Jacob, all of thee. Okay, speaking about you 12 tribes, man, you Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans chiefly. I will surely gather the remnant of Israel. I will put them together as the sheep of Basra, as the flock in the midst of their fold. They shall make great noise by reason of the multitude of men. You know, and the Lord is pretty much assembling his army, man. He's assembling his chosen, man. Okay? All right, that remnant. You see? Okay? It's not going to be in the means of, going and starting your own settlement. You know? Okay? Because you have stories where Jake has been doing that, man. You know? You got people within the Israelite community that was attempting to do that, man. You know? Okay? Go and live amongst themselves, man. You know? But we're in that time where people are cleaving to their own people, man. They're turning to their own people, man. That's a perfect example of it, man. You see? Okay? Because why? It's because he understands that he's losing the grip on this place, man. Okay? The great America that he once knew is losing its grip. Okay? It doesn't have that bite no more. You see? Okay? He sees it slipping away, man. Okay? You see? All right? This place is flooded with the tribes, man. This man is pretty much, you know, when they try to talk about you Jakes out there, talking about chiefly you Judah, okay? All right? Speaking of saying that you only make up 12% of the population, you know, and that was always the go-to number for over 40 years. They've been saying the same number. How do you still at the same number for 40 years, 12%, man? You see? Okay? You know, the thing is that they're not telling you is that, man, you're by far not the minority, man. You are the majority here, man. Okay? You see? This is why this man and people like him, man, feel like they need to go ahead and go out into the wilderness, man, the Ozarks, man. Okay? In these remote areas, man, in the country, and start their own settlements, man. Okay, to get away from the bigger cities, man, where you Jakes are dwelling, and now you Jakes you receive benefits but not have known the Lord. You know, here it is, you're making money, okay, and you're spreading out into the suburbs now, man. Okay, you see, Jake is everywhere. Okay, you're in the city, and you can find Jakes out there in the suburbs, man. Okay. You know, if you got a significant other and you're making some decent money, it's easily attainable for you Jakes to live in the suburbs, man. Okay? You see? and you know, guys like him are not really able to get away from him because they don't have the means of it, though. They have to pull together as a community to do so, man. Okay? He just can't go up and leave and live in the most exclusive parts of the country. Now, a lot of these Joe Blow six-pack Edomites can't do that, man. Okay? You see? So, you know, these people right here are building these little crappy settlements, man. There's nothing that you Jakes need to be envying over, man. Okay? You know? All right? You Jakes actually, right, and at this point right now, man, are doing a lot better than a lot of these Edomites out here, man. Okay? You see? You know? Living in elaborate homes in elaborate neighborhoods, man. Okay? So pretty much, man, you know, hey, but the Lord pretty much is gonna call you out on you pretty much receiving these benefits, man, and not knowing of the Lord, man. You know? Okay? The judgment's gonna be death by pain, man, for a lot of you people, man. Because you people are not going to repent, man. You know? Okay? All right. From there, let's go to Micah 1 and 1. Malachi. Wait, from there, first of all, let's go to let's go to Micah 4 and 1 first. Let's grab that real quick. Micah chapter 4, verse 1. Okay? And pretty much this is going to be you know, how the Lord's going to set it up for us, man. Okay? You see? It says, "But in the last days it shall come to pass that the mountain of the house of the Lord shall be established at the top of the mountains, and it shall be exalted above the hills, and the people shall flow unto it." So the Lord is coming back to, man, to establish his kingdom, man. Okay? And we're going to be joint heirs with him, man. This is how we're going to establish our settlement, man. Okay? You see? All right? World dominance, man. Okay? All right? Under Yahushai. "And many nations shall come and say, Come, let us go up to the house, to the mountain of the Lord, and to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For the law shall go forth of Zion, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem," man. So people are going to pretty much have to come and succumb to these laws, man. Okay? All right? And we're going to enforce it, man. Okay? This place is going to dwell in righteousness, man. Not the way that this place is going. Okay? Here it is, man. This place is all the wickedness that's going on within the elites in the government, and this is the only thing that's on the basic Joe Blow six-pack Edomite's mind, man. Okay? All right? This is the only thing that's on his mind, is just to get away from you Jakes, man. Meanwhile, his own people are pretty much are self-destructing this place, man, into the doldrums of hell, man. You see? Okay? All right? And it says, "And he shall judge many people and rebuke strong nations afar off. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore," man. And this is where you're going to have ultimate peace, man. Okay? Not what this man is doing. Okay? You know, Esau is a carnal man. Okay? You see? All right? You know, he think he's gonna have peace in that little settlement, man. Them people are gonna pretty much turn on each other, man. Okay? For the lack of bread, man. Okay? You see? All right? And it says, "And they shall sit every man under his vine and under his fig tree, and none shall make them afraid." Speaking about the you tribes, man. Okay? All right? "For the mouth of the Lord of hosts have spoken it," man. So you're going to have pretty much your own settlement, man. You're going to have your own fig tree and your own vine trees, man. Okay? You see? All right? So pretty much, man, you know, and hey, we're going to have to go a hell of ways to go, man, to get to that point, man. Okay? As far as what the Lord has pretty much set up, that straight gate, man. You know? Okay? So, hey, you Jakes out there, man, hey, you don't sit there and worry about this guy here, and individuals like him, and you can't be offended by it, man. Okay? You Jakes don't even want to be around each other sometime, man. Okay? Like I said again, man, black fatigue is real, man. It's a real thing. But let's hear a little bit more what this devil got to say, man. Then I'm going to pull my last scripture.
I guess
Some discrimination as a white man growing up in Southern California, where I was a minority, and I, want to protect my kids from the same kind of situation. So, of course, a lot of people feel this way today. There's a lot of anti-white hatred out there, and several of the people in the community have had negative experiences. Not with all people of other races, but there are people out there who are hostile to whites. So, yeah, it's about protecting.
Well, hey, listen, man, you're being found out, man. Okay? You're being found out, man. Okay? And you people have nothing but pride to go along with that, man. Okay? All this wickedness that's going on, man, that you people pretty much institute in the earth. And you still walk around with this exuberant amount of pride, man. Okay? And the people are tired of it, man. Okay? You see? Right?
Us in our own.
and so the people who live there, did they buy their own land, or did you buy the land and are you leasing it out to them?
No, we all own it together. So we formed a corporation. The corporation owns the 160 acres, and then we own shares in the corporation.
That's amazing. And so when you say you were discriminated against while living in Los Angeles, what happened to you? In what way were you discriminated against?
Well, some very limited instances of violence. I know people who have experienced far worse than I did. Mostly just kind of bullying, having my identity group demeaned, belittled, the accomplishments of my ancestors kind of glossed over in favor of alternative narratives of history, which I don't think are...
And your history is an alternative narrative of history, man. Okay? You see? You people have inherited lies, man. Okay? You don't want to speak about the how you got the lands that you dominated, man. Okay? You don't want to talk about that, man. Okay? You just want to speak about how your way is the right way, and that's it, man. And you want to sit here and you come with the olive branch with the dagger behind your back, man. You see? Okay? That's how you coming. All right? And then you want to take off the bloody garments, okay? All right? And then put on a three-piece suit, man. Okay? This is how you people portray yourselves, man. Let's continue.
Truthful, I think, European civilization contributed an awful lot to the world, and I just didn't hear that celebrated. Instead, it was denigrated and sort of cast as the villain of history. And then, I recognized that the Mexicans in my town had a fondness for each other. They had loyalty to each other, and they would group up and do things together, and I would be excluded. And I don't blame them for that, but it is just a fact that other groups, they have some sense of a common identity. And
a lot of this is telling me that he's pretty much lying about this whole thing, though. But I understand where he's coming from with the whole thing, though. But he's trying to say this is by personal experience. And I just beg to differ, okay, that he actually had a personal experience with this whole thing, though. But he knows that if he raises his family within a society, that this can possibly happen, man. Okay? All right? Because you growing up in these areas, man, they were still praising you gringo. Okay? All right? Issachar, so-called Mexicans was praising you people, man. Still look up to you to this day still, man. So this whole thing about you being exposed, man, this is a new thing that's coming out in the earth, man. Okay? And your deeds are pretty much are coming before you, man. So this wasn't growing up during your childhood or what you want to try to portray, man. Okay? This is a new thing to where you understand where you're being found out, man. Okay? Your bloody history is coming up. Okay? And it's being talked about, man. Okay? So this is what you're not trying to subject your children to go through, man. But you just say that you went through it yourself, man. I beg to differ, man. All right? But I'm going to end it there. But I'm going to pull this last scripture, man. You know? All right? Because, man, you know, this man, again, man, this man sees, you know, the walls closing in on him, man. Okay? He sees the walls closing in on him, man. You know? And this is pretty much, man, the last hurrah, so to speak, man. You know? All right? Let's go to Malachi 1. Right? And 1. The burden of the word of the Lord to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, say the Lord, yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Right? And that's what we pretty much say, man. You know? Okay? You know, pretty much you got people now that are so traumatized through Christianity, they don't even believe in the Bible anymore, man. Okay? You see? But it says, was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord? Yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau. Okay? So these pretty much, man, Jacob is you 12 tribes, and Esau is pretty much your adversary, man. Like the individual that was speaking there, man. Okay? You see? All right? The descendants of the pale man. All right? Right? And it says, and I hated Esau and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness, man. Okay? You see? His origins was a wasteland, and pretty much his future is going to be the same, is going to follow the same suit, man. You know? Okay? It says, whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. You know, and this man's pretty much playing victimhood and saying he was discriminated against and you know, and at the end of the day, you know, if you're stuck in the hood like that, because now you're trying to make it seem like you grew up in the hood in LA somewhere, Southern California in the hood. He's making it seem like that though, man. But you know, at the end of the day, okay, you so-called Joe Below six-pack Edomites, man, you pretty much are, you know, a paycheck or two away from homelessness, man. Okay? So a lot of you people ain't got it like that. This is why you people have to come together to try to incorporate and put the money together to get this parcel of land and to try to call it your own, man. Okay? When you can pretty much individually just go out and just buy the land yourself and just and set up your settlement there. You see? Okay? But you're trying to take it a step further now, man. Okay? And have people join unto you. You know? But it says, right? That you will rebuild in desolate places. And this is what you're doing right now. You're trying to build in desolate places right now, man. Okay? Here it is, man. You're out in the Ozarks, man. Trying to build settlements, man. All right? Okay? Right in the middle of the Ozark Mountains. You see? But it says, they shall build, but I will throw down. And they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people whom the Lord have indignation forever, man. So the Lord's gonna has indignation for you people forever, man. Okay, all right, because now he pretty much knows that he has to separate himself from the majority of the society, man. Okay, the great melting pot that you people have created. Okay, because now why? Because your ill doings and your misgivings are pretty much coming up to your face now, man. Okay? And you have to separate yourselves from that, man. But as the Lord said, man, you shall build, right? But he will throw down, man. Okay? And pretty much that's what's prophesied in the scriptures, man. You know? And that time is coming and it's fast approaching, man. All right? So I'm going to end it there, and I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakodash. Shalom.